Hi, and welcome to That's So Nova. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. Today we're going to be doing another bag from Oro Rosa, and we are going to be doing Elise, the Expandable Slouch. This slouchy bag is a little bit different from any slouchy bag I've ever seen. It does have an expandable zipper, and it's absolutely so much fun to make. And when you show it to your friends and family, they're not going to believe you made this in your home machine. This bag can be made on a domestic, semi-domestic, or industrial. So don't be afraid to whip out all your kind of fabrics and prints because there's not a lot of interfacing that goes in this. Matter of fact, when you look at the cut list, you're going to see only woven interfacing if you're using cotton woven. And if you're not using cotton woven, you're pretty much only using Decaville Light in one place. And that's the connectors. So grab your fabrics and let's get started. So you have prep work. I say this a lot, and I hope that if you're a returning subscriber or if you're a new subscriber, I cannot reiterate this more than I can possibly say. To get a successful Oro Rosa bag, you need to do the prep work. The prep work is everything. Once you get the prep work down, then you can break down the packs and you're good to go. Alexis gave us a coloring page on page 9. I'm not going to lie to you. I did print out a couple of these and I did color them on my spare time or when I was writing correspondence or just when I was trying to figure out different bag styles that I wanted to make. This is one of the bags that you're going to see if you're on social media in the Facebook groups. This bag is absolutely stunning, and I'm not gonna lie, low-key kind of want it. So again, please do the prep work. We're gonna do some of the prep work right now. I'm going to make and draw the we're gonna not make and draw, we're going to do like sew up the connectors and one of the double straps, and we're going to also make one of the zipper straps, not the zipper straps. I keep saying zipper straps, but it's not the zipper straps. We're going to do one of we're going to do the connectors, the straps, and one of the tassels. There we go. I can find my words. So this is going to be one of the double strap handles. You're going to find your center, and then you're going to do this like we do with all of our double straps. We're going to press this into the center, but we're going to leave about a 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. Just leave a small little gap down the center. And press. Now you don't have to use double-sided tape. You can use clips going all the way down it. I actually do this clips all the way down the sides when I am not filming. It just makes my life easier. I love double-sided tape, but sometimes I just like to just use clips. And then we're going to fold this onto itself, and we're only going to sew 1/8 of an inch down on this one side that is open. Back stitch at the beginning and the end. Now I'm using a 4.5 stitch length. If I was on my straight stitch like industrial Juki, that's like a 5550, that's like a similar to the Janome HD9 or one of the straight stitch Jukis or the Brother 1500s. I probably would be doing a 4. Sometimes my sweet spot on that machine is a 3.5. I have no idea why I like that stitch length on that machine. It just, when I'm using 40-weight thread, I think it shows up better. Everyone has like a signature stitch length. What is your favorite stitch length on your machine, and what machine do you like to sew your bags on? You know, sometimes I like to see that in the comments because you never know who's watching that's looking for a machine and they just want to know a little bit more. So I'm using green to counter out this black, and I really love it. So we have that. Let's do a tassel. The tassel's done a little bit different. We're going to need our ruler, and we're going to measure 5/8 of an inch up and we're going to draw a line. Once we draw a line, we're going to put double-sided tape, 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape, and we're going to put it right underneath that 5/8 of an inch line. We're going to take the bottom that's below the 5/8 of an inch line, and we're going to press the bottom to match that line that we drew to that line, 5/8 of an inch. All right, and I'm just gonna use my squeaky roller. One of my dear friends, she absolutely loves this squeaky roller. Now, I oil all of my tools like once a month, and no matter how well I oil this tool, I promise you, it does not want to get better. It just does not. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put double-sided tape right here on the raw edge that is open. Now, where you're seeing this at is going to be on page. I'm just hopping around a little bit. We're going to whip pages back and forth. You're going to hop to page 18, figure 29. I like to do the smaller pieces first before I do the strap. I don't know why. And I'm just lightly pressing my fingers down the tape as I'm going. And then I'm going to remove the backing of the double-sided tape and then press this to go right on top. Now with the tassels, again, we're going to back stitch at the beginning and end. And I like to give this a good little press too. And squeaky for you guys too. It's going to become your favorite toy. Watch. You're going to be like, I miss that squeaky wheel. We're going to start and we're going to sew down the middle, back stitching at the beginning and end. You have 2 tassels. I'm showing you one that I'm sewing. So once I'm done one, you're going to do your second one. Nice. I like a little contrast stitching. I think it brings like another character to your bag, especially if you're using like a plain color like black or brown. Pop of color can make it like, wow, that's cool. Now, this is the only piece that has a stabilizer piece. You can use Decaville Light. Or you can use like a scrap of woven interface. I'm using electrical tape because I have some extra ones laying around, and it works similar to Decaville Light, and it's just very thin as well. So we're going to do the long edges, butt up right on top of each other. There's no spaces needed. The reason why I use electrical tape is I actually forgot to cut out the Decaville Light. I interfaced all my cotton pieces and totally forgot to cut out the Decaville Light because I was so excited there wasn't any any stabilizer pieces. So again, I'm going to back stitch at the beginning and at the end, 1/8 of an inch down each side. Just gonna hop over. Okay, get those tails. And last but not least, we're going to do our main crossbody strap. Just going to take these and put them in my little cubby thing right here. And I drew a line to the center, and I'm going to press this to go about 1/8 of an inch away. I love the fact that Alexis always does this kind of in the middle, the beginning of the bag. I am notorious for trying to do this at the end. I know that's bad because your bobbin could be empty, and it's in good habit to actually do this at the beginning. The only reason why I like to do it at the end is I feel like this is like my victory. So like I'm done and it's like, we are the champions, my friends. And like when I'm done with this, it's like the victory, like straight stitch. I'm done with the bag. But the problem is when you do this, you're kind of playing bobbin chicken. Like if you didn't sew enough of the bobbin, like you're like, oh snap, like are we the champions? Are we the champions? Because I'm not. I ran out of bobbin and now I have to wind a bobbin. And I'm tired of sewing at this point, so yeah. So we're gonna try to leave like about a 1/8 of an inch gap, 1/16. Just eyeball it. Just you want to leave a gap so that way when you fold over, that that gap gets filled in from the excess fabric and it's not like bulging out. Okay. I'm using like this faux leather pebble, black pebble. I like texture sometimes when I'm using the faux leathers. It depends. This is a really soft one and it can get stretchy sometimes. So I have to be cognizant when I'm like doing gussets and stuff to really kind of over clip because it can stretch. All right. So we're going to fold this in half on itself. And we're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. And again, always back stitch. You can clip it if you wish. Or you can, you know, not. It's really up to you. And again, I feel like this is a great place to use contrast stitching too, especially if your strap is like a solid color. It can bring a very like fetching, like something to the eye, like, ooh. I'm focusing on the 1/8 of an inch mark that's on my side, and I'm just taking a little at a time, folding it and using my hands to guide. Again, you could definitely clip. But I find if you do the prep work and like I say, have that 1/8 of an inch gap, it kind of like folds onto itself really nicely and you don't have like where it's like not like folding on top of each other. All right. I'm going to go across and then I'm going to go onto the folded side. And like this is when I let it fly. I don't look at the needle because it's kind of like hypnotizing for me. I focus on the 1/8 of an inch mark, and I just kind of have my hands like you see right here, and I go with it. I just let it fly. I usually let it fly faster, but my machine gets really loud and you're gonna be like, what is that sound? And then right when this part touches like my index, I usually slow it down. Then I'll go across and back stitch. And we're good. We have our strap. All right. So we did our prep works, and now you have to create your packs. So now after you do everything, you're gonna have your pack 1, you're going to have all your packs. Having your packs are important because it's like, it helps you function. And if you're a person that has like a lot of UFOs, this page on 19 will help you because there's 5 packs and it will help you progressively go faster through this process. So you want to do that. So on pack 1, we're going to actually start with the strap. So I'm going to grab this, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold this over at 1.5 inches. So what you can do if you're a person that you're like, I suck at eyeballing, you can mark 3 inches, like just do like a small mark. And then, you know, it's folded out at half. So you're going to grab we're going to grab our connector. We're going to grab our swivel hooks. And we're going to get everything from pack 1 ready to go. So I have pack 1. We're going to grab our swivel hooks. And we're going to grab 2 rivets. And sorry, my packs are trying to fall down. I have them like all organized in the bins, which are like, guess what? We're going to fall. So we're going to take our swivel hook and we're going to thread it. And then we're going to place it to that mark that we made, and we're going to punch in the center. If you're not a good eyeballer, which normally I'm not, Jolie Lee Creation has like this really awesome like centering thing for rivets, and I can give you more information in my description on where it is. So then now we're going to take this and we're going to use our rivet press and press this down. So I'm going to go ahead and set this real quick. And I set it with my rivet press and it goes down two times. All right, so we got this. Now, on the other end, I'm just going to make sure everything goes smoothly. We're going to take our tri-glider, feed this through, and kind of have like a loop like this. We're going to take now, oh, I accidentally took the wrong size. We're going to be using that next, but you want to make sure you have the right size. We're going to take our 1 inch and slide that in. So it's going to look like this. Once we have that slide in, we're going to kind of create a loop. We're going to slide up and under, and we're going to kind of fold over at 1.5 inches. And you can mark the dot, but I can tell this is 1.5 inches, and we're going to rivet this in place. This is exactly how we make our normal straps. It's just in reverse. So at first, when I first did this, I was like, what? But then when I really thought about it, it's just in reverse. So again, I'm going to take my rivet and put it through, and then I'm going to show you the strap. So it's the same strap, it's just in reverse. So you have your swivel hook on both sides and your adjustable strap. Okay? So we're going to take that and we're just going to put this to the side because we're done with that part. So you're already done. It looks awesome. You're doing a good job. So the next part we're going to make are double strap. So you need both your double straps that are done. And you need your 3/4 inch double rings. You need double ring swivel hooks. You need strap-ins. And you need 4 rivets. And let me get that last rivet. All right. So for this one, it's very similar. We're going to create our double strap-in. We need to fold it over by 1/2 inch. And we also need to, the stitch marks need to go towards the inside. So what I did is I just basically made a 3-inch mark on each side. Because you always can remove the silver pin mark, but it just helps you, if you're a person that, again, is like, I cannot eyeball at all, this, this will help you. So what I did is I slid this in. I got my this is going to fold over like this, but I want to make sure I have my strap-ins nice and tight in there. I'm going to, oops, not spill them everywhere, but spill them everywhere. And the reason why I do this first, so that way I can just make sure, make sure that everything fits before I don't like to rivet before I put my strap in, because if I rivet too close, I can't put my strap in, and then I'm a little frustrated. And just take your time. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to make sure this stays nice and straight, nothing gets twisted, because it's very easy for it to get twisted. Feed my 3/4 inch swivel hook in there. And make sure that these get fed in evenly. Okay, and do the same thing. And you can use whatever strap-ins you want. You can use, I like the ones from, there's some really beautiful ones from Waywack, and then there is some beautiful ones from everywhere. Fireweed Stitch, Emmeline Bags, you name it. There's so many like retail people that have beautiful, beautiful strap-ins. Bringberry, you name it. There are some absolutely stunning ones. All right. Let me put these screws away because I promise you I will lose them. And then I'm like, oh my God, what happened to the screws? All right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take our hooks and I'm going to match it to that line. And then I'm going to punch holes right on the side, not through the stitches. And that's the part that's a little bit hard. And again, if you have a hard time eyeballing, it's okay. It's okay. Draw your dots. See, I need to sharpen my hole puncher. It's just like not punching holes really great recently. All right, I have that one. Let me do this side and then I'll set it, and then we have our straps complete. I have like everything connected to it too. All right, and I'm going to set these rivets. And we are done. We have a super cute strap that is going to look amazing on our bag, and we're going to set that aside. I'm going to get all these punch holes out of the way, and then we have one last thing. We need to take this tassel and put some zipper ends on it. And you do that twice. There's 2 tassels, so you need 4 zipper ends. And I love the way this looks. It gives it such a sophisticated look. And it, again, it just takes it from looking like homemade to couture handmade, you know? And that's what we're looking for, like something like one of a kind that you can't get anywhere else. That's what we're inspiring to do, and that's what you want to have. Like, where people are like, where did you get your bag? And you're like, oh, it's one of a kind. You can't get it everywhere. And you want people to stop and stare. That's, at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. Every now and again you get that one post. Ooh, that's like, I don't want to work with you, I want to work against you. That's what I have right now. And it's okay. That's why they sometimes they give you extra or it could be there you go. All right. So do that. You'll have 2 and we are good. So the next thing you're going to do is, if you want to have your name tag, she has it where you would put it centered 4 inches up there. I like where her name tag is. It's just not where I will put it. I'm going to put mine on the back of the bag. But that is a good location also because it looks really nice. And you can see on the front of your pattern that she has it right there on the front of the bag. It looks really great. I actually took, I'm making my Star Trek bag, and I took like a fancy magnet and I put it on the other side. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So we're going to now take this and we're going to start making this part of the bag. We did a lot of cool prep work. Let's get this party started. We're going to take this and we're going to put the bag together. I'm going to put a clip at the bottom and a clip at the top, and I did that in reverse. You gotta love dyslexia. Okay, we're going to sew this together at 3/8 of an inch, and you're going to back stitch well at the beginning and the end. The reason why I put a clip it there, you can clip it all the way down, but for me, I notice if I put something like at the top and the bottom, it's not going to go anywhere and it's not going to shift. All right, so I'm going to lay this flat, and I'm going to take some double-sided tape. That's 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to put that on one side like it is shown on figure 54 on page 23. And do it on the other side. I'm going to press that with my fingers, and then I'm going to remove this and then remove it on the other side. And we're just going to press that seam open. And if the seam doesn't want to stick, and that happens from time to time, that's just the nature of some faux vinyl backing and whatnot. I'm going to get out my squeaky roller. You can use any kind of roller you have, whether it's like a poly roller, like the quilted roller, whatever you got. You can use your fingers, whatever. And we're going to top stitch this 1/8 of an inch on both sides. Remember to breathe. And that's back stitch. This is a drop-in lining, so there won't be any like trimming. So back stitch, lock in those stitches. Just focus. Don't hold your breath, just focus. Okay. I hopped over a few stitches. Just focus. And when you stop, make sure you stop with the needle down. There, we did it, okay? We got it. It looks good. We're proud of our stitches. We're like, what? Look at this. We did it. We did it. You did it. All right. So we did what was on page 50, step 56 on page 23. And we got this. Perfecto. Now we're going to go work on the pocket on page 24. Okay, so we're on pack 2 right now, and we are going to put the zipper pocket in the back of the exterior. So grab your exterior piece, and you're also going to grab your zipper pocket facing. So on your zipper pocket facing, there is some prep work you're going to do. You're going to draw 1 inch on your pocket facing piece on each one of the long ends. Okay, so you're just going to take a pen, you're going to draw, pretend this is not attached. You're going to draw only on your facing 1 inch on each long edge. And then what I like to do is I like to draw a center mark, because it just makes the math easier in my little dyslexic brain. And I draw a mark right here just to find the center. And this also helps with finding the center of the bag. Just watch this pan out and tell me if you like this in the comments. So then from here, you're going to create a 7-inch zipper box. From here, I like to then measure out my 7 inches. So from there, I drew 3.5 inches here and 3.5 inches here, which creates 7 inches. So when I do my lines here, I love to automatically snip in my center mark on the top and the bottom. So when I have that, I can just take this and I can find my center right here. Everything's aligned, and it makes my life so much easier. If it helps, you can take your silver marker and just draw a line down the center and remove it later. And that way you can align it down perfectly. So from here, I like to draw the same kind of line on the opposite side and put some double-sided tape, because this is vinyl. You might be using cork, you might be using leather. If you're not using some material where you could pin this down, double-sided tape is going to be your best friend, unless you want to use magnets. You can use Sew Tight magnets on each side, and that can help it keep it in place as well. Unless you're one of those Houdini magicians that can just take this to your machine and it won't move an inch, which if that is you, I am jealous of you. I'm not lying. I'm jealous of you. So from here, I put double-sided tape on the back of this, and I stuck this down by putting it exactly 4 inches and 1/4 of an inch down the center. And I put this down here. From here, I stitched around the box. Now, I like to use a small stitch when I go around boxes. I find it easier and it gives it a tighter look. I can't do the one line. Again, I see people doing that and they can make the perfect box. I can't, but I can sew the perfect box. So as you can see here, I did a box all the way around and I did that. Right here is where I like to put my tag. I usually like to put my tag in the back, either on the front or the bottom. Everyone has something a little bit different. Do what you like and makes you happy. So I am going to snip in here. And I'm going to snip into towards the inside of this box as close as I possibly can without cutting into my stitches. And if you do cut in your stitches, it's not the end of the world. You can go around the box one more time, about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, and you'll be fine. I have done it. Other people have done it, and it's fine. You'll be fine. All right. So I'm going to finger press this because this is vinyl, and I'm kind of just running my nails. I know this is sound, and my finger pads and my thumb pads across this stitching mark. I'm going to bring this back. And I'm going to use some double-sided tape here. And I'm going to get this as neat as I possibly can and then use the tape to help secure it down. Usually I use I like to use my iron. I was going to do this and you guys were supposed to know what that meant. I use my iron, but sometimes when I have vinyl that's like a thinner, slouchier one, I don't want to melt it. So I use a little bit of double-sided tape, and I'm not going to sew over this area, so it'll work out just fine. And I'm just making sure this box is nice and taut. And look at that. It looks good. It's not really puckering. We did it. We got a nice little box. So now we're going to mosey on over to page 26, and we're going to create our zipper pocket. We're going to need our zipper pull, our lining, and we're going to definitely need our zipper tape. Our zipper tape is a little bit shorter than our lining pieces. Our lining pieces are 10 inches wide. Our zipper tape is 8 inches. So mark your centers on your zipper tape as well as your zipper lining. So I made a little snip on each one, and I made a little bit of a mark. Okay? So on here, we're going to lay one side down and we're going to sew 1/4 of an inch. Okay? Then we're going to just kind of finger press that. And we're going to do the same on this side. We're going to lay this down. And we're going to move this ruler so that way it doesn't fall on me. We're going to clip this in place, and we're going to sew this at 1/4 of an inch. My thread is just a little bit tangled over the lights. Bear with me for just a second. If you've seen what I've seen, you'll be like, Shanova, what's going on here? And we're just going to finger press, or you could take this to your iron and press it down. I'm just going to press it. And if you're working with like waterproof canvas, don't be afraid to just go back over this and just top stitch this real quick at 1/8 of an inch. And those are my dogs. If you guys didn't hear them in a tutorial, you would probably be like, this is not Shinova's tutorial. This is a scam. All right, we have that. Then we are going to put our zipper pull on. All right, we have our zipper pull on, and then we're going to line this up. And when you line this up, you're going to want to lay this over like so, and you're going to want to have this nice and neat. I'm going to put some double-sided tape on here because I want to make sure this gets nice and lined up neat, but apparently my 1/8 of an inch is like hiding for me, so we're going to use 1/4 of an inch. Don't tell anybody. You don't tell anybody, I won't tell anybody, nobody will know. It'll be our little sewing secrets, secret buddies, sewing buddies. This is like a newer roll. I promise you, when there's a new roll of double-sided tape, it just smells so good. I can have a candle with it. I don't know what's wrong with me. When I first was sewing with double-sided tape, I absolutely hated the way it smells, and now it's like the best. My dad was an engineer for Texaco Oil Refinery, and he used to come home smelling like gasoline. And oh, I don't think my zipper is on well enough. He used to smell like gasoline, and like whenever I pump gas, I like the smell of it, and everyone's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, nothing's wrong with me per se. It just reminds me when my dad would come home in his little uniform, and it's a comforting smell. And I'm trying to get the zipper in the middle. And just fuss with this till you like it. It's okay to fuss with it. Don't let anyone say it's not. Okay. All right, so we're going to pull long threads. And we're going to start and whenever I have to go needle down, I pull the needle handle down all the way until the needle bar is slightly coming out like going up, and that's when I can pivot. Take your time, breathe. I can't stress that enough because I know a lot of people, like, they stress out when they're top stitching. And I think the secret of top stitching is not stressing out. One more stitch. I'm just going to hand crank that. All right. Right, and we're going to take and we're going to pull our threads to the back. So we're going to pull our threads to the back. Sorry, I was getting the anti-fray stuff. Sometimes like it's like some of the sediment just like stays at the bottom. It's weird. So I'm pulling the threads. And okay. No. Like this thread is super, like, have you ever had a thread that like it just shreds? I don't know where I got this thread from, but it's definitely for sure a thread that shreds a lot. Okay, it's not that one. There we go. And I'm going to knock this up. I'm definitely going to have to put a fray check on this because this bad boy is a shredder if I haven't seen one. Like the Ninja Turtles enemy. I wonder how they come up with their villain names. Like, who was like, we're going to come up with these really cool Ninja Turtles names. Donatello, Michelangelo, all that stuff, right? And their nemesis is going to be Shredder. You're like Shinova and her strange tangents. And this is like one of these weird fray checks that either it comes out perfectly or it comes out like so much that you're trying to pat it down and like dry it out fast. All right, so we have that. We're going to place this down. And we're going to put some clips in on here, and we're going to kind of clip this and trim this. Into place. Does anyone else like the way scissors sound when it's it's cotton woven, or is it just a me thing? All right, so now we're going to sew this with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm gonna kind of maneuver this down, back stitch at the beginning and end. And just make sure your zipper is not like, oh, I didn't even catch that. That's because I'm Shadova. I'm going to go back and just make sure you do as I say, not as I do. Just I'm going to go ahead and trim this excess off because, yeah, you get to hear the ASMR of my scissors again, though. So that's a bonus for you. Yay for you. All right. So we have that. And you're going to meet me over the other table where we're going to start pack 3. This is like where the magic comes together. You're going to see a lot of cool stuff happening. Okay, so we're on pack 3 right now. So we're going to grab our zipper tape. We're going to grab our zipper pulls, our connectors, our tabs, our zipper pulls. We have a little bit of everything right now in pack 3, okay? So the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to grab your I'm putting these to the side real quick, your gusset, and you're going to want to line up your, where's my lighter? Because that is a fray, but it's okay. It's going to just annoy me. You're going to want to grab your zipper tape, and you're going to notice that the zipper tape is like the perfect size as the gusset. That's what we want. So I'm going to put a clip right there. I think it's really important. I know you're automatically going to want to unzip the zipper tape. Just don't. It will be beneficial for you in the long run. Okay. So we're going to start clipping this on one side. And I put the clip on the other side too, just so everything can pan out. That over there. And just clip it. Use as few or as many clips as you want. No one's judging you for your clip game. And if they are not your sewing buddy, okay? They're not supposed to judge you on that. All right, so we're going to base this onto our zipper gusset. At 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Zipper tape against the gusset. So you should see both pretty sides up, right? Okay, now, as much as you want to pull apart this zipper, you're not going to do it. You're going to start clipping it like you did on the other side. So I'm just going to snip those threads because you know I'm notorious for having rogue threads. This part's important. I know it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like a little boat, a little like burrito, but it's important. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of people doing the same thing as you right now. I'm telling you, I don't know how these designers like, hey, this is how it works. I'm like, this is so cool. Like my brain would have never even wrapped around this idea. All right, so now we're going to do 1/8 of an inch down this side. Just the zipper tape on the other side. And just make sure that you stick to the 1/8 of an inch, raw edge to raw edge. All right, you did that, okay? Now we're gonna put some zipper pulls on. You have like this little burrito. So you're gonna put one zipper pull on. So I'm just gonna separate that. Those in the trash, and then we're gonna trim those little burrs down. And we're going to put the other zipper pull on. And now we have 2 zipper pulls on. You did it! Yay! So let's go on to page 29. Now we're going to do some, we're going to be working with the, we're going to be putting on the connectors and the tabs. So first we're going to put the connectors on, and you want these strap connectors to be pretty sides facing the zipper teeth. So I'm just going to base that on real quick. I'm sorry, I'm going to put that on and then put this on top of it. So you want all the pretty sides to be touching. I think mine's are a little too big. Hold on one second. Yep, I had to cut mine's down. I made mine's too wide. It happens. All right. So you want your strap connector to be on top of your zipper, pretty sides touching, meaning that the side that's open and raw, that has your Decaville light or your stabilizer, is all, you can see it. So pretty sides touching the zipper. Then you're going to want your tab to lay on top of that. Again, the pretty sides touching. So all the pretty sides are touching the pretty sides of the zipper tape. You're then going to sew at 3/8 of an inch across. And I back stitch at the beginning and the end. Once you do that, you're going to trim those tails like I don't do, or I have excess amount, and then you're going to trim back just the tab, not the connector, at 1/8 of an inch. We're doing this to reduce bulk. One thing that Alexis is really good at is teaching bulk reduction. And what I cannot stress enough, whether you're on a domestic, semi-domestic, or industrial, you need to do bulk reduction. Just because you can sew over bulk doesn't mean you should. A bulky seam doesn't look good. So, in my personal opinion, you're going to put your tab up, and this connector stays down, and you're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. All right, we did that. Yay! So now we are going to grab our main panel, and we are going to sew this gusset on. So you're going to have your centers, which you should have your center marks from when you cut the bag, when you cut out the bag. But if you don't, then find your centers. I have my center marks from when I traced out the pattern, because I cut, you can't cut vinyl on the fold, or there'll be a 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch bulk. So I had to trace, but make sure you have your centers. And I am going to place my center mark, and I'm doing my front panel. And we are going to put this. Now this one, this gusset is a little bit more interesting to put on. You are working around zippers, so just be cognizant about that. But this bag has no like real stabilizer, so it's going to be a little bit easier to manipulate. make sure you get your connectors out of the way. If you want to, you can unzip it, but I left mine zipped and unzipped it for the second half. Take your time and just really go into the, use your clips and really go into the curves. And when I do gussets, I think I'm a little bit of an over clipper, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being an over clipper. Especially, I think I overclip, especially when the bag doesn't have a lot of stabilization on one piece and like you have like stabilization like the zipper on another. It's perfectly fine. And do what you have to do. If you want to unzip, rezip, move things around, do whatever makes you more comfortable. After all, it's your bag and you sometimes know best what works for you. All right, so we're going to sew this with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Backstitch well at the beginning and at the end of your stitching. Take your time when you're around the zipper and where the connector is. If you have to, use a stiletto. And I'm just going to move this to the side so that way it doesn't fly off the table. And if there's a crinkle or a wrinkle, I like to take my time and just make sure that the wrinkle is above this where I'm going to stitch so it doesn't show on the bag. So above, not below. If it shows below, it's going to show on the bag. All right, and here's where things are about to get kind of interesting. So once you're done with this, we are going to trim. Only this part, not the part with the zipper. This is why we don't use double-sided tape. And we're only going to trim the curved part of the exterior piece. Again, not the piece that has the zipper, the gusset. And we're only trimming around the curve and not the whole piece. And this is so that way the curve sits nice and pretty. We're not doing the whole piece, just where it curves. Do not touch the zipper tape. I'm going to repeat that for like, I don't know, the 4th time already. Do not touch the zipper. All right. This is where it gets a little bit fun. We are going to now take the seam allowance and tuck it under and top stitch at 1/8 of an inch onto the exterior. What I'm doing is I'm making sure I'm separating the bag from it curling onto itself. And I'm using the inner part of my foot to be the guide to make sure it just stays on the exterior and not hitting that zipper. Right. This is nice. Now we're going to do it again. First things first, take your pocket. Get a clip. Clip that pocket out of the way. And you know what? For good measure, grab another clip. Clip it out of the way. Find your centers. Okay. Then we're just going to clip it good. That's clips they use. So many threads. I think I like clipping around the curve first because I feel like it's easier to spread out the gusset bulk. Maybe, I'm not too sure. Because I feel like I always have to finagle the gusset a little bit. And like bend and play with it, because you're working with an area that has some stretch and another area that doesn't have stretch at all. So you kind of have to like bend it back and forth against the gusset just to make sure that everything fits. And it will. All right. Let's do this again. And then we're going to do the part that, you know, some may say it's a little bit more interesting because you're going to have to top stitch from the inside. That's why I'm showing it to you versus saying do it on the other side and then you see me go to the lining. I wanted to really show you how to sew it from the inside. It's quite easy to me because there's no interfacing, but I can see where it could be considered difficult by some because I want to make sure I'm not accidentally sewing over my zipper or my connector. Because if you have never had to sew top stitch within your lining, it's like, what am I doing? So hopefully you can see like my hand positions and things like that, and maybe it can help you. That's what I'm hoping. It's really funny because after we do this step, we do the lining, which is has a very cool thing, and then we kind of punch some holes, you know, top stitch, and the bag is done. This bag, I feel like, is mostly prep work and like doing new skills. It does, once you see it put together, you're like, oh, that's it? Moving my zipper out of the way and moving my connector out of the way too. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. Remember, we went around here and we cut just from the exterior around the curve to 1/8 of an inch. Not the zipper tape. I repeat, please do not cut the zipper tape. And you're like messaging me, I accidentally cut the zipper tape. And I'm like, I like literally never told you to cut that. You know, that's against my sewing. If someone even says, I'm like, no, not today. All right, see, this is what you're going to do. You're going to keep these clips on here because it's so easy to accidentally sew your pocket by accident. The key is that the seam allowance wants to go to the exterior anyways. So see how soft and malleable this is? You can crinkle it up. Don't stress out, okay? We're going to put this under our machine and we're going to start stitching. See how the seam allowance already wants to go to the exterior? We're on the side, we're on the back side. So we're going to start, you already see this side is top stitch. We're going to start top stitching here. I always back stitch 1/8 of an inch. And what I'm doing is I'm going to open up the bag more and more. I feel like the hardest part is just moving the bulk. But then you kind of, by the time you get the hang of it, you're just like, oh, I'm at the end. Just keep moving the bulk. Separating. And just keep separating. And the seam allowance is going to do what it does best. Go to the exterior. It doesn't want to go inside the gusset. Needle down when you're moving. We're in the middle already. See how it's just squishy, so. See how the bag right here, we're in the middle right here, we're just, like I did on the original one, I'm moving the fabric out of the way with my hands. I'm looking at the zipper tape. See? I'm stopping. I'm assessing. I'm listening to my dog about to bark. And we're done. That was it. You top stitch the other side from the inside. And it was easy peasy because there's no top stitching. There's no stabilizers. So you top stitch this incredibly well. So from here we're going to do some trimming. I'm going to remove these and we're going to trim just at some angles to help reduce some bulk, so when we top stitch it's not too bulky. That's my dog. Grab all that, and then we're going to get a ruler and we're going to trace. And that's my dog. He's probably happy that my daughter's home from school. That sounds like he is a Cane Corso, and his tail is like, whew, it's like it's a force. So we're going around about 1 inch. We're just drawing a line because we're going to put some tape, double-sided tape, because when my kids come home from school, he is so excited. Like, he's like, my people, my brothers, my sisters. All right. So from here, we're going to grab double-sided tape. And we are going to put this on here. All right. And we're just going to press this down. In any area that's bulky, I like to just put like a little clip that's not going to leave a mark, a little clamp. Okay, so on page 35, you see a clamp that Alexis has. I don't know the exact clamp that she has, but I'm going to show you a trick. We probably all have this. If you have key fobs, you probably have this. This is a key fob one. My plastic fell off, but I like to use these in bulky areas. Be very careful if you don't have the plastic on this. I just take this and I do a small little press, small little squeeze, and it works. It works very nicely. And then I'll just put like a bigger clip just to hold it in place. So I'm going to do a small little press. And that's that. And then I'm going to turn this right sides out. Look at how cute this is. I don't have any crinkles and wrinkles because I checked that before. But look, oh, I love this. All right, so on here, we're gonna go on to the lining. So we're gonna collect pack 4 and I'll be right back. So we're on pack 4 and I'm going to do right sides together on one zipper tape, one on one side of the tab, and then now I'm going to take the other side of the tab and put it together on the other zipper tape and sew that together. So you're connecting the zipper tabs and sewing them together so your zipper tabs look like this. So one zipper tab on 2 tapes. That's pretty cool. I like that. All right, so then you're going to kind of butt them together like this. Like on figure 122 on page 36. I'm going to put a clip right there. And one right there. And then we're going to top stitch that in place. One side. Trying to make sure the other side stays where it's supposed to be. All right. You got that? All right. This thread is like sticking to me. Okay. So we're going to take this. We're going to get that big, large pocket. And we're going to get the side that is 13 inches. Which I think. And I'm going to find my center. Oops. And I'm going to center this right here. And we are going to top stitch this in place at 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Then we're going to grab the bottom base piece right here, and we're going to put this right sides together. Just gonna put a few clips in this so that I can hold in place. And we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. Okay. Then we're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Then we're going to take this lining piece and we're going to bring it to the top. Don't make fun of my Frankenstein lining pieces. My Frankenstein woven interfacing. Girls gotta do what the girls gotta do. I do not waste interfacing. Okay. I'm going to sew that down on the top of this at 1/8 of an inch. Then we're going to grab our big piece that we have here. We're going to retrieve this, and we are going to put this, we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. On the top. You're going to press this up and over. You're going to want this to fold exactly over that 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Like you see on page 39, figure 139. So I'm going to, sometimes it could be hard, especially if you're not using like a stronger material like waterproof canvas. So there's a couple of tricks. You can use double-sided tape. You can just take your time and just use the iron and press it out. And I think for me, I am going to use double-sided tape because my cotton is super soft, and even though I have like interfacing on it, it's not the same as waterproof canvas. Now hear me out. The reason why I'm using cotton is I want the maximum slouch in this bag. This bag looks fantastic, super slouchy. I'm not saying it won't look great with waterproof canvas or water resistant canvas. I'm just saying if you want the maximum slouch, go for cotton. All right, and I'm going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch on the top and then on the bottom. All right, so then from here, you want to make a measurement. It's in the pattern. Let me trim this. I'm notorious for also not trimming off excess water, like interfacing. There's a measurement for 1 by 5/8 of an inch. I need like a lint roller vacuum cleaner that's just can suck up my lint and threads. So what I do is I make a little marking. And I'm going to kind of just like gonna tack that down as soon as I put my zipper pulls on. And not lose all my zipper pulls. Put your zipper pulls on. You're like, Shanoa, we're not closing up the pockets yet. I promise you, it's coming up. That's why we're putting the pulls on. And we're going to kind of put that mark, the mark that we just had, and we're going to kind of close that off real quick. And do that on the other side as well. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to close off the pockets here. We're going to draw, or you don't have to draw, you can sew 3/8 of an inch. And backstitch. And what you're going to do is you're going to trim that down to 1/8 of an inch because you're closing off the back pocket. You're going to do that on the other side too. I love how she does this. It's always so creative. You're back stitching at the beginning and the end. You're not sewing over the zipper tape, remember that. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to flip these out of the way and we're going to close these up too. Not sewing over the zipper tape. So you're basically just sewing up 3/8 of an inch, and then you're trimming it down to 1/8 of an inch, so you can close up those pockets. And then we are going to make the pockets become 2. So we're going to measure in we're going to measure in 6 1/8 of an inch. Wait, let's see, hold on. A gridded ruler for 6 1/8 of an inch. And you're doing it on the middle, the front pocket, not the back pocket. And you can double check on the other side, but it should measure 6 1/8 of an inch as well. All right. And then you're just going to sew up this up the middle. And this should be it should be on both layers, this and this. Not just up until almost the zipper. Do not sew over the zipper. See, by doing that, you have your own pockets in here. When you open these up, you have your own pockets as well. So I think that is so cool. And now we're just going to just tack down these pockets on this side and then trim off any excess. And do the same on the other side. Okay. And then we're going to put a rivet in here, and we are going to grab pack 5. So punch a hole on here, and then we're going to grab pack 5, and we will be right back. Okay, so we have pack 5. This is the last pack before we start putting the bag together, and we are going to be assembling the bag. So we need to grab our zipper tape, our tape, and you would need to fold your zipper tape into like a 90-degree angle, and you can either singe it and milt it, or you can sew it. It really depends on what you like to do. I like to sew mine, I think, just like a simple stitch like this. Some people like to singe it. It's really just kind of what you feel like is more better for you. We have the linings. So with the first zipper lining, the way this works is your zipper tail will sit. You need to measure 2 marks, 3 inches and 2 inches. The 90-degree will be marked at the 2.5 inch mark, and the tail will be at the 3.5 inch. So the way I look at it is, do you open your bag to the left or the right? If you open your bag to the left, you might want your tail, you want your bag to be at the 2.5 mark. Okay, so you will want the 2.5 mark to be on the bag with the zippers on it. So I'm going to go create my 2.5 mark right here and the 3-inch mark here. That's where the tail is going to be. And I'm going to put a few clips here. And we're just going to put a few clips, and then we're going to like kind of veer off when the 3-inch mark comes. I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch as I base this on. And then when I get to closer to 3, I'm just going to kind of put it at an angle so that way it's not exactly at that 3-inch thing. It kind of just veers off organically. All right. So on this side, on the other side, the other lining, I'm going to have my 2.5 inch mark on this side. I thought when you clip it just to the zipper and not... I always find this side always so hard for me because like you have to start at the veering off. All right. So now we're going to put our facings on, and these come on like this. And these, I'm just going to clip this like this out of the way, and these get sewn on at 3 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to back stitch at the beginning and the end. Okay. Ooh, this thread is, it's something. And then you're going to top stitch with the seam allowance going towards this at 1/8 of an inch. All right, one down. Thread thread. Clip this here. Three-eighths of an inch. Seam allowance up. All right, and then we are going to start putting the gusset on. Just going to clip this up now. Now the gusset is pretty interesting. I love the way this actually comes together. It's really clever. So I'm going to clip this. It doesn't go all the way up like the other one does. You'll see how it comes together, and I think you're going to appreciate how this crafty little bag comes together. Okay. All right. And we're going to go 3/8 of an inch, back stitch, okay? I'm going to do that to the other side. Take this clip, put it up here. And I think my son just came home and none of my dogs bark. He's like super quiet compared to my daughters. Like my daughters come in and they're like linebackers. Like, but my son, he comes in and he's like, I don't know, he's super quiet. So, all right. I think some of you are probably figuring out how this comes together and you're probably like, oh, this is really crafty. I'm just throwing clips at this point. I love this gusset. I love how the exterior gusset is, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm equally in love with the interior gusset too, because it's super crafty. It's super smart. So we're going to do, again, 3/8 of an inch. Just kind of finesse yourself in here. If you have to use a stiletto or something to help you maneuver things, you're not alone. I have to do that. And yeah, don't forget to hold your threads, because I just did that and I'm rethreading now. Let's see. Alright, so we're going to just carry on and keep on stitching. And remember, crinkles or wrinkles above your stitching. If you do it below, you're going to see it. Above, you're good. And if you're working with two different materials similar to me, I'm using like a light water resistant and like cotton. They want to fight each other because they're like, we're not supposed to be together, but you're going to make them work. All right. So we got this. What? It looks good. So now we're going to stitch these parts together, this top part. Now, this is the part that always gets me. You can use a staple here if you wish, but trying to make sure these parts line up, because you can kind of finagle like the drop-in lining part. Like you can mess around with that to make sure that that fits. And you even can take in, like if you didn't cut right, like you didn't cut the zipper right, you can even take in a little bit more here and there and mess with your seam allowance. But this area right here, to try to line this up to make sure that it is lined up right, that I feel like that's important. So some people staple, some people get like a really tight clip. It's really up to you. So that's 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and we're gonna do that over here. Got that zipper. Make sure that zipper's closed off so that it doesn't go off track. Okay. So we got that done. And now we're going to trim this. To 1/8 of an inch. But you're not going to trim the zipper tape. If you have the excess zipper tape, remember I told you I kind of goofed up and I cut my zipper tape too short. But if your zipper tape is zipper taping right, then don't trim the zipper tape. And I'm just going to trim around here. Trimming is important because you want to, again, you want this bag to be light and airy. I promise you I get pink, but apparently not today. Not today. All right, we're going to go over. We're going to get this last part of this bag done. I recorded this and it did not film, so I'm going to walk you through it and do something a little extra to help you through. So, you're going to do the lining exactly like you did the exterior. You're going to take the lining and you're going to make a 1-inch mark all the way around it, and you're going to fold it in on itself just like you did the exterior. Once you do that, you're going to do a dry fit. Once you do the dry fit and it fits nicely, you're going to either put double-sided tape all the way around the bottom of it and then like clip it in, and then you're going to do a drop-in lining. This is where I taped and it didn't pick up. I apologize for that. You could pull threads and do a pull the threads to the back. I don't. I do a back stitch because I believe in it. The reason why I believe in back stitching is because, one, it can be concealed in this one because your connector is going to come over here where your 1/2 inch connector, however it's going to be a D-ring, a tri-glider, whatever you have, is going to come over. So I believe it's going to, when this is here, you're not going to see the back stitch. So it's going to be hidden. So for me, I think that having a back stitch doesn't really matter because you're not going to see it. So if you do it in the seam, on the side seam, no one's going to notice. That's it. But I'm going to do a second roll of back stitching, a second roll of stitching, just so that way you can see how I stitch. You can either come at it. I had all these clips all the way around it. You can come at it from the top, or you can come from in the inside. If you have I'm working on a flatbed. If you have a domestic or semi-domestic or industrial, if you have a domestic or an industrial free arm, this might be your best thing, because you could put on a domestic like a brick or a couple things and you can let it hang. I personally think this is an easy bag just to go on top like this, but I also trust my bobbin. So the way I do it is this. I'm going to do a second row of stitching. I'm going to do it at 1/4 of an inch, but you're going to do yours at 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to back stitch into the seam allowance. And I just come in from the lining side. And this bag is super floppy that it's easy to maneuver and take your time and have fun with it. Like, I feel like this is a bag where you can have like some fun with the top stitching. If you have a computerized machine, I think you can even have fun with maybe some decorative stitching, top stitching, because it's not a lot of layers, and why not? I'm doing a second row. If you want to join in on the fun with that, go for it. See, don't say I don't love you, because I could have just explained it and went on about my merry little way, but I legitimately was recording, and it was camera 2 on my other machine. And I'm sitting here stitching, thinking I'm sewing with you guys, and lo and behold, no, I was not. Let's see. So again, I'm stitching, I'm back stitching into the seam where it's going to get covered up. You can pull your threads to the back, similar to what we did on the exterior pocket. And you can pull them back here, tie them off, burn them, and call it a day. But again, I believe in back stitching. If you've been around my channel enough, you know I'm a back stitching queen. So now we're going to move on to the next steps. All right, so we are going to punch some holes. We're going to come in here and we're going to grab a ruler as my spine aligns from sitting. Okay. Have you ever just like stood up and then like kind of been down after sitting for a long time, and like it just like your back just kind of like aligns and you're like, whoa, I've been sitting way too long. So all right, from the bottom we're gonna go inside. From the inside, like we are going to, for like 1/4 of it, like 1/8 of an inch away from the side seam, we're going to mark a dot 1/8 of an inch up from the lining, and then from the top from the main lining, we're going to mark 3/4 of an inch from that dot. So that's a 1/2 inch, and that's 3/4 of an inch. We're going to do the same on the other side. So I'm just marking 1/8 of an inch above the lining, and from that dot I'm marking 3/4 of an inch up. All right, I'm going to punch some holes. I know it's scary. You're like, I just made this beautiful bag. Now just pay attention. You don't want a hole on these exterior. You want it on this panel. do the sewer swivel. It's there. You can't do it in the middle or it's going to break your stitch seam. So we got that. I'm just gonna poke that, make sure that it's nice and clean, because I don't know, I need to sharpen my tool. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. It's very easy to not go on that panel. It's so easy. I was so close there. All right. Then we're going to do some more math, okay? We're going to go get our connector, all right? And then on our connector, we're going to measure 1/8. We're going to make a mark in the middle at 1/8 of an inch. And from there, we're going to make, from your zipper top connector, you're going to make one. Okay, I'm sorry. You're going to make a couple marks. You're going to make, the first one you're going to make is a hole for, holes, I'm sorry. You're going to make a hole. It's going to get weird. I'm sorry. You're going to make a, I'm going to zip this down so that way I can get this flat. You're going to make a hole for 3/4 of an inch and 1/2 of an inch. And on the other side, you're going to do 1/8 of an inch and 7/8 of an inch. So there's like 4 holes, okay? Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Three-fourths, 1 1/2. 1/8 and 7/8. All right. All right. Now we need some rivets. And we need a press. All right. We are going to get our D-rings. and not spill rivets everywhere. All right. All right, and getting our so I always like to do the bottom one first. I don't know why. And thread this one through. And then I'm going to set my rivets. It's like a soft push, like 2 pushes. And I have 1. Get that through, and then I'm going to grab 2 other connector rivets. And then I'm just threading this through the holes. And I'm going to set this. Oops. And sometimes you set one wrong. And when you do, it's okay. Just grab a pair of pliers. Or you can, if you have like the fancy rivet remover, that's always a good plus. Wait 1 second. So I can put another rivet in here so we can be done. It sounds a lot worse than what I'm actually doing. Okay. All right. I'm gonna just do that part later. So we're just going to then put a zipper on. That's not on right. I hate when they don't align and you're like, no, you gotta do it right. All right. And then I'm gonna get a little bit of tape. And I'm gonna just fold this in on itself. And then put a zipper end on here. Okay. And let's just do the finishing touches on this beautiful bag. And I'm pretty excited about it. Okay. We're going to put these on Elise at the bottom of this. Just kind of feed these through. So you just want these to like kind of match up. And if you have a circular, like a donut pull or something along those lines, you just feed it through, grab it, and then pull it. Then you're going to take your handle, clip it to your ring, and then you have this amazing bag. And one way I get it to slouch really nice is like overnight, I let it like kind of hang on a dresser and kind of just open it up and just let it naturally fall, and it gets slouchier and slouchier and slouchier. And it's such a beautiful bag. And you have the option of, like, if you want it to be a little bit slim and not as full, you can have these beautiful tassels, and it's a thinner bag, which is super cute. And you have this beautiful opening where you have, it doesn't really, having the gusset open and close doesn't affect the lining, which is brilliant. You have two big slip pockets, then two zipper pockets, this beautiful real estate in here, and then you have a really big back pocket for your like cell phone and your whatnot. It is so freaking adorable, and I see a lot of these in my future, and I just think it's so cool. You can have it like be structured, being closed, or you can open it up and get slouchy with it. And I love it. It's so cool. Just use very, very squishy material and you will have no problem with Elise. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If this is your first time to my channel, if you could hit like, subscribe, I would appreciate it. If you've been a watcher and a lurker for a long time, hit subscribe. What are you doing, man? And if you would comment, like, subscribe, it will help my channel out a lot. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And until the next video, see you later.